Light. When you hear the word light, what comes to mind? For me, it brings purity, hope, courage, facing the darkness, the evil, being a hero. Hardcore Leveling Warrior knows this, and challenges you to think differently by flipping the script, by not only having one of our main characters being called Dark, but having the main antagonist of Chapter 1 being called Light. Lucas Hahn is the vice president of Giga. You know, one of the biggest, wealthiest corporations in the world of Lucid Adventure. And the largest and strongest guild in Chapter 1, having many high rankers. From people with hero-type personal attributes, to people like Sam Han, Grandpa Dark's son, and the Emperor of the Giga Empire. With all these rankers and sons of actual gods, what makes Light stand out? Well, Light is unranked. And while we're not sure how to entirely become a ranked player, we know that his estimated rank is 3. That's right, out of the entire Lucid Adventure world, he's ranked 3. I feel like we don't really understand that, probably out of millions of players and characters, being ranked number 3 is pretty dang impressive. So let's talk about Lucas Hahn, the vice president of Giga, the 3rd ranked player. Let's talk about Light. Unlike characters that I've done videos on like Master Swordsman, Constant, or Yopai, Light gets a ton of screen time. Or, I guess, webcomic time? I have read Hardcore Leveling Warrior many times. I would say too many, however, every time I read it, I see little things that I've never noticed before. Or I just get a deeper appreciation for this comic. I've gotten to a point where I can remember the story and when most of the characters appear. However, Light appears so often that I can't really remember every time he appears. But he first appears in the end of Chapter 10. You see, Giga is a family company, with him being part of the family. Yes, Dark is the grandson of the creator of the game. He calls Light brother, but Light doesn't really care for him at all. You see, Dark had a close relationship with Grandpa. That means the entire family doesn't want Dark playing the game. In fact, they used to kill him every time he logged on. But more on that with Dark's video. Light and the entire guild of Giga hired a robot assassin to kill off Dark and his friends. The robot almost gets them. However, Yopai intervenes by sending his slime, Lime, to protect them. With this intervention, Light and a diplomatic group go to Yopai to talk how not to intervene with Dark, calling it family business. And this meeting is a very good distillation of Light's character, which is strangely calm and respectful. Compare his attitude to the character of Manager Park. This is a green-haired punk. He's loud, disrespectful, even attacking the citizens of Yopai Land. Compare this to Light, someone who's not only stronger, but more important too. And he's respectful and diplomatic during his trip, even apologizing on behalf of Manager Park. Even when he threatens Yopai Land with war, it's more like he doesn't want to do it. Light's introduction is very strange for a villain. He doesn't really feel like a villain. His white clothes, his respectful and humble demeanor, his patience with people like Lime, Tack, and even Manager Park. He has a lot of noble characteristics, and it's interesting. Because later, Ethan says out of the entire group, Light's momentary hostility was far beyond that of a high ranker. And it's true. We don't find out until much later, but like I said at the beginning, he's ranked number 3. He doesn't need to pull the patient and humble demeanor. However, he chooses to stay a lawful person. Well, up until he meets Dark. Light was quite the respectful person throughout the entire trip of Yopai Lands. Until he sees Dark. When Dark says, "Brother Lucas?" His response is a quite disheartening, "Don't call me your brother. Did you forget what father said? You're banned from Lucid Adventure. Live like the son of a loser, because you are one. Like my uncle, your father." Light is rather respectful and even forgiving to people like Lime, who messed up their plans, and Tack, who tried to attack them twice. However, when it comes to Dark, his own cousin, his own family, there is no mercy. There's only disgust and hatred. Light makes his next appearance at the start of the combat tournament, where Mami gives the estimated combat ranks to many of the teams, giving Light's team an SS rank, the highest rank he gives a team. During the round, we finally get to see Light's strength. We see him notice the Yopai Assassin's cloaking skill. And when this S-ranked team attacks, Light not only neutralizes all their attacks, but kills them in one skill. That's the level of strength that the Vice President has. Then we get to see his role at the end of Chapter 31. You see, the world of Lucid Adventure is a bit more, let's say, wild than other MMOs. It's mainly because there isn't really an admin or moderator. People to make sure that no one's cheating and stuff like that. The closest thing we get are the gods, but they don't really care. Giga is mainly in charge of that. And that's what we get to see Light do throughout a couple of these episodes. He fights fake Ethan and the real Ethan, because he suspects one of the two is a bug character. Light is practically a moderator. Even during the combat tournament, his goal isn't to pass the round, but to get rid of the bug character. He's a character who uses his rules to the advantage. Sure, he tries to get rid of the obvious bug character. Or he could try to eliminate both Ethans. Because, one of the two is a fake, so which one is it? Anyways, when Light starts to use the question mark skill, the fake Ethan runs, knowing the power is too much to deal with. This gives us a little insight on Light's morals. Nightmare is a bug, and whenever someone tries to use that bug, they are punished. So Light is forced to use the Nightmare, even if he didn't want to, or need to. However, Light maintains the balance of the game. So if he needs to use a banned bug to get rid of something that deletes characters, then he's forced to. We also get to see him use that power against the real Ethan in his team, because he still thinks that Ethan is a bug, and when he's almost out of mana, he's pushed into using it. I also want to mention how interesting his attacks are, especially the names. Holy Light, Holy Grace, Puppet of Light. These skills play around with the idea of a character using holy magic, but he's an evil character. Holy, of course, being pure, good of heart, and such. Like I said at the beginning, Hardcore Leveling Warrior changes the normal stance of the reader, immediately associating Light with holy and good people. Anyways, we see Light again during the subjugation round. He comes up with a strategy, giving the weaker parties gold weapons, meaning they can get points faster. Which means Giga could get points faster. Light goes to persuade the other teams to help join them. I hope you can hear my air quotes during persuade, because if they say no, he's just gonna kill them. Fast forward to Ethan fighting Zero. He knows he can't normally beat her. However, Ethan is forced into using the Nightmare's power, beating her and gaining his sword back. However, the important part is the Nightmare's power, which is a bug. And when people use this bug, they need to be punished. So that's what Light does. Light finds Ethan's team and uses the Ruler's Luck, a god-grade equipment that can immobilize players. Light had access to this relic the entire time, however never used it because it would be against the rules. He needed to kill off Ethan's team, but he could only truly punish them if they broke the rules. He needed to punish them within the rules. That's how they were set up by Giga. Even if punishing Ethan would cost the lives of his employees. However, the God of War intervenes. Light could have pushed more. He could have tried harder to punish Ethan. However, he remembers what his father said. Do not interfere with so-called gods. So he stops. Just because Dad told him not to mess with the gods of this world. Even though he clearly wants to kill Ethan. Jeez, we're on page 3 and we're barely halfway there. Alright, the next moment during the war is between Giga and the Alliance, where he surprisingly barely appears, only facing off with Dark a couple moments. This only establishes that Light is surprised at how strong Dark is. And this leads up to a special interview, where Giga wants to recruit members to help him fight during the PvP round of the combat tournament. We see him bring in around 200 players, and he kills most of them. These chapters are really just a showcase of his strength, which is him killing around 200 players. Even when he's seemingly at a disadvantage, he still manages to win it. I could continue talking about Light, from his dialogue to the new recruits and to the battles with Grassroots and the Ultimate Robot Healer, but I think I know the main thing everyone wants me to get to. Team Light versus number 1 ranked Ethan. Probably the coolest fight in Webtoon history. But before the fight, I want to talk about his personal attributes. Personal attributes often give us some insight to the type of character the player is. Sora is a glutton, so taster makes sense. Ethan was so unlucky throughout his entire life, he just wanted to be lucky, so absolute luck makes sense. Constant is a manipulative liar, so Fooler makes sense. Light's personal attribute is Majin, or a demon, which adds to his character. Because it's the fact that his demon is hidden. Look at Dark. His demonness is on constant display. Not only does he have the random hair horns, but he merges with his demon all the time. It's on display constantly. Light's demon is much more hidden. We actually didn't even know it existed. His demon only comes out when his mana exceeds 9999. Like his actual personality, it only comes out in small times. For example, during the fight between number 1 ranked Ethan, he is, unsurprisingly, beating them to a pulp. Light was the only one not to panic when number 1 Ethan first came into the mix. However, after being stunned and having his entire team go down in one attack, he reveals who he truly is. Light is always a calm, patient, powerful yet not too arrogant character. However, after this, we finally get to see Light's personality. He's kind of a child. He loses that calm. He never really fought based on one's emotions. It was always planned, intelligent strategies. However, during Demon Light versus number 1 ranked Ethan, his calm and patience breaks. He's never faced anything this difficult. He's never faced anything he couldn't defeat. He's like a kid that's been handed everything in life. And when he's finally faced a difficult situation, he breaks down. He's cornered, and like when Light does, always when he's cornered, he uses Nightmare. And even that's not enough to take down number 1 ranked Ethan. Ethan lacerates Light, finally finishing him off. Chapter 1 antagonist. Down. Just as a little side note, AE number 3 has the aftermath of that lacerate. He actually needs stitches from that attack, which I found a bit strange at first. However, it makes sense. They say it'll take time to recover. This wound is from a divine skill after all. But other people get lacerated. So why does he need stitches? It could be that taking a divine skill from number 1 ranked Ethan was too much, or it could be that the nightmare affected him in such a way that the divine skills would affect him after the fights. Light is a purposeful twist. A character dressed in white, using skills like Holy Light and Holy Grace, even having Light as his name. However, there is a darkness in him. He may seem calm and respectful. However, he's always looking down on people. He always thinks he can defeat anything because he's one of the strongest. But when that's not the case, he really comes out. His demon emerges, and like Dark, he's a kid. But unlike Dark, he's whiny and spoiled, who thinks anything he can't beat is unfair. Anyways, by now you know that I'm making a D&D chart of hardcore leveling warrior characters. I've already done 5, so go check out the playlist in the iCard to see where these characters go. Anyways, here's the chart so far. And now Light. Light is the villain of Chapter 1, so there's no doubt that he's going to be evil. Light is not only extremely spiteful towards Dark, but basically everyone. He looks down on everyone. Everyone from the Grassroots Guild to the Ultimate Healer team, even the Team Dark. He's disgusted at how they play. He thinks that he's so above everyone that he's disgusted by basically everyone. However, will really only act within the rules of the game, unless pushed to doing something else. Backing down when the God of War comes around, not using the Ruler's Lock unless it's a nightmare or someone who's using the bug, and only resorting to using nightmare powers when he's pushed too far. For these reasons, I will put Light in Lawful Evil. And I think he deserves to be here, trying to follow the rules, but still being a terrible person. Anyways, there's a lot to Light, and I'm glad I got to talk about him. Every time I get to talk about a character like this, I gain more respect for the thought that the author put into this webtoon. Every little thing that they think of, and it's really impressive. But like always, thank you for watching.